Brooklyn Independent Television.
Welcome to the first Brooklyn Review of 2012. I'm Brian Vines. It's a distinction that no landlord wants, but public advocate Bill DeBlasio labeled the owner of the building at 245 Sullivan Place in Brooklyn one of the worst landlords in New York City. He says there are over 600 cumulative violations, the most of any apartment in Brooklyn. However, those who run the building say there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. Sherry Karabin paid a visit to the building and brings us the owner's side of the story.
I don't believe that. It can't be the worst building. Look at it.
Caretaker Albert Whitaker speaks out about the recent negative publicity leveled against the landlord at 245 Sullivan Place in Crown Heights. Public advocate Bill DeBlasio listed the building as the one with the most cumulative violations in Brooklyn on his New York City Worst Landlords watch list in 2011.
It's important that everyone understand that these are not Department of Buildings violations. These are HPD violations, heat, hot water. They're not violations related to code, but quality of life.
The public advocates list shows over 600 violations. But Whitaker, who lives and works in the building, says the public advocate's report doesn't tell the whole story.
He's fixing it. Look at the apartments they fixing and everything. This can't be the worst building. I see worse building than this. I mean worse. Okay, like in the Bronx, East New York, so this can't be the worst building. So to admit that survey, I think they got it backwards.
Indeed, the owners say many of the more serious problems have been corrected.
The people are working outside diligently. They're getting an intercom system. They're getting locks on the door. These are the things, the security issues, the lighting issues. There's so many other issues, but the heating is number one. Everyone has heat. Everyone has hot water.
Gloria Henderson is the business manager for Maristank Corp. and the daughter of the owner, Stanley Crossman. She says Crossman is elderly and his health prevented him from coming to the site. But she and several other family members took Brooklyn Review on a tour of the building to show the progress that has been made.
This is not a Band-Aid system. We're replacing. We're not just repairing, we're replacing. This was the lighting that they said that needed to be repaired. There's the lighting there.
Brand new bathroom right here.
Replacing a new tenant into here.
Yeah.
There are 40 apartments in the building, but about half are vacant. And the owners say many of the tenants are not paying their rent.
I'm not saying that we're blameless. There are issues in the building that need to be taken care of. But when you have a building that's 50% occupied and 40% of the tenants aren't paying rent, aren't willing to work with you, it's really difficult. You can't gain entry to the apartments to make the repairs because they're not paying rent, so they really don't want to communicate with you. They're calling down to HPD with their violations, which is fine, but we're willing to take care of them, and they're not allowing us to do that.
But the owner's troubles go back much further. The family says several years ago, Crossman tried to sell the building. Although the sale never went through, it led to a long court dispute over the ownership of the property. They say he also hired a building manager who stole the rent he collected and allowed the problems to increase. In 2008, Maristank Corp. Received a Department of Housing Preservation and Development, or HPD, mortgage, so it could remove lead as well as make repairs and renovations to the apartments and public areas in the building. The family says the court case caused a major delay in the release of this money. And even now that the problems have been resolved, HPD has yet to give them the full amount of the loan.
We call HPD, they said the person to release the money is on vacation. When is he coming back? We have no idea, so we're still out of fund trying to fix what needs to be fixed. So if HPD was interested in cleaning up the building, they would give us the loan that they promised us to clean up the property. All of this was supposed to be done with the loan that we were supposed to get from HPD. Paint the whole thing, clean up everything, all of this.
I don't know the particulars, but I do know I don't want to engage in blaming the victim. There's over 600 violations and HPD violations at this building, and obviously it had to have taken some time to accrue all of these violations. Created the law which would establish that HPD would inspect all buildings, not for just one violation, but for all violations from the roof to the cellar. And so I had a conversation with HPD. We outlined all of the violations. We've notified the landlord, and if the landlord fails to correct these violations, HPD will step in and correct these violations and find and bill the landlord appropriately.
In fact, HPD contractors have come in to make repairs, and Henderson says it was a disaster.
This is how HPD left this place. They just walked out one day and they left. This is how they left it. We could never do this. They said they were going to replace the tubs and whatnot. And this is what the contractors are working on rehabbing, because nobody wants to be in a building with these kind of places.
What's the average rent that someone in this building is paying?
I'd say no more than $350. $350 because it is a stabilized building. However, they've been given no increases. No one has ever gone down there because of the issues that are plaguing the building, so the landlord has not gone down there for any increments.
Although none of the tenants who have filed complaints approached Brooklyn Review while we were in the building, this woman, who did not wish to be identified, allowed us inside. She's lived in the building for about 30 years and is in one of the newly remodeled apartments.
I don't have problem, I don't cause problem, I don't create problem.
And you've never had any problems here?
If I have it, my landlord took care of it years ago.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
When you do the right thing follows you. No my sorrows. You want a better place than this?
I think it's nice.
You think it's nice, right? That's how you keep it.
For now, the owners say they'll continue to make repairs and do whatever is necessary to remove their name from the watch list.
Everyone is working hard at getting this building reestablished. You know, we only want not just the community, but all the powers that be to come together to see it as a reality and make it happen. You know, not just do the blame game.
This is Sherry Karabin reporting for Brooklyn Review.
Brooklyn Review contacted the city's Department of Housing Preservation and Development to see why the owners hadn't received the full amount of the HPD loan as of yet. Spokesman Eric Biederman issued the following statement. Due to litigation by a third party which put the ownership of the building in question, we were not able to advance the loan funds until that lawsuit was settled. With the litigation recently resolved, we are ready to resume payments as soon as the current owner is able to present a plan to restart construction on the major systems at the building. We are determined to get this project rehabilitation on track so that the tenants can look forward to safe, clean homes they deserve.
Follow us on Twitter at BK Independent TV.